Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a smashing weekend so far. Today we're going to be diving into the cryptocurrency markets, and we're going to be doing a number of things in this video that I'm sure many of you are going to find very informative, very interesting, and exciting, because there's a lot of fear gripping this market right now. Lots of people calling for a bear market, etc., etc., and I don't really think those calls are at all warranted. I think crypto has a long life, that it is only really just starting. I'm going to talk about all that in this video. To date, we've followed something called the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory very, very closely. It's what's allowed me to make money in this market. I really want to be going over one of the first videos that I ever made called Bitcoin is Following Amazon. We got 55 views, 9 likes, and one of them was me. This is when Bitcoin was at $11,000. And we said that Bitcoin has a similar trajectory to Amazon, and this of course was back when Bitcoin hadn't even gone on to make new all-time highs. Now, the reasons for me comparing Amazon and Bitcoin, and it's not just because the charts look extremely similar, it's because there's fundamental reasons why these two are similar. And that's because Amazon came out of the internet, which was a technology. Bitcoin has come out of blockchain, which is a technology, and they're both going to be here to stay. Amazon's certainly proven its worth, and so has Bitcoin. And that's what we're going to get into in this video. We're going to be looking at the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory. We're going to be looking at the lengthening cycle theory. There's both technical and fundamental reasons why, in my opinion, this is going to play out. We were expecting a 2017 to 2013-esque finish to this year, as we have previously. It just doesn't seem that that is going to be the case. Now, when things don't go to plan, and certainly I had been expecting some sort of a parabola towards the end of the year, doesn't look like that's going to be the case. But when things don't go to plan, what do? You don't panic. You don't, in my opinion, sell your position. You deal with it accordingly. And I believe that there is absolute credence to the fact that cycles are going to lengthen. We're going to have more prolonged cycles. And the bear markets are going to look different. We might not see this kind of boom and bust, rinse and repeat that we've seen for Bitcoin historically. What really causes the 4-year cycle theories is, of course, the halvening, which happens every 4 years. And you can see these green lines are when the halvenings take place. And you can see what happens after. And this is essentially because there is a supply shock caused to Bitcoin due to the rewards getting cut in half. So miners essentially become half as profitable, and the price needs to adjust in accordance. So we're going to do a lot in this video, and I actually do think potentially, and remember this video was a year ago, over a year ago now. It was one of the first videos ever made on the channel. Some of my earlier videos are really my best, but there could be a possibility that Bitcoin maybe goes on a similar trajectory as Amazon. Now, if it's followed it to date so far, there's a good likelihood that potentially it could continue to do so. And you can see very, very clearly with Amazon, very volatile, very up and down, huge dips, sustained periods of downtrend, continuation. I mean, doesn't that look very similar to where Bitcoin is today, ladies and gentlemen? You know, you could see something like this playing out. And as what you're really noticing here with Amazon, you had the boom and bust in the dot-com boom. By the way, the dot-com boom got to $5.5 trillion overall. Crypto is only valued at $2.3 trillion. So there's still a long way to go in this market. And I don't really think people have, and that was back in the 1990s, guys. So that's considerably, $5.5 trillion back then is worth a lot more than $5.5 trillion today. So I think Bitcoin's still very early. I don't think you've got any reason to panic. I just think we're taking a different approach to get to the same destination. Ultimately, some of the price fixes we've got out there for Bitcoin, 100K, 150K. Do we think it's still going to get there? Absolutely. I just think we're going to take a little bit more time than what many of us had expected. And when new information comes to light, and the information that we've got here is just the charts, essentially, you deal with it and you restructure your approach accordingly. You don't panic. You don't look for somebody to blame. You go, okay, let's assess the situation. Are we going into a bear market? No. Is the market more mature due to some of the sort of actors that are in this space? Yes. Markets as a whole are very weird and wonderful at the moment, in the sense that there's a lot going on globally. We all know what's taking place on the kind of global stage, and also with global finance. The Fed's done a lot. We live in very strange times, and this has all had an effect on markets. And remember, Bitcoin, following this 4-year cycle theory, I mean, this is the first year where really we've had a country adopt it as legal tender. It's a more mature and different market today than it has previously been. You are still definitely going to have that pressures of the halvening, and this is going to cause a supply shock, which should cause an increase in the price continuously, because this is something written into Bitcoin's code. But what I very quickly want to do to show you that cycles are also lengthening, and we've done this previously, is I want to get all these cycles. So this was your first cycle, this was your second, and this was your third. Certainly in my opinion, many people have grouped this as one cycle. I just don't think that that's the case. And what I want to do is put from top to top to show you that technically there is a lengthening in cycles. So what I'm talking about here when I say top to top is from this cycle to this one, to this one, to where we currently are. And there's absolutely lengthening within these cycles. Can you see? We'll change the color of these very quickly. It's early in the morning, guys, forgive me. Yeah, and we'll leave it at that. And you can see that cycles get longer. There's a lengthening period of time from one to the other. And there's also a law of diminishing returns. Bitcoin, for the first time really in its history, this cycle that we currently are in actually crossed over the previous one in terms of ROI. That was obviously due to all the inflationary pressures that took place back in March 2020 and how that had an effect on the crypto space. You know, we saw a lot of liquidity go into assets and out of the dollar due to the dollar getting devalued and people trying to hedge that. Essentially, that's what happened. So this video is to really sort of broaden your minds. You know, what do you think? The people that get shaken around in the crypto space are often people that haven't done their due diligence within it. I was very lucky to be here through the 2018 bear market and in 2017 because it taught me a lot. It gave me reasons to stick around in this space, because certainly in 2018 it didn't look like the price was there, but this was the best time to invest when everyone was the most pessimistic. In the same way that in Amazon, or this is Apple, just as one example, this is your dot-com boom, this is Microsoft dot-com boom, this is Amazon dot-com boom, and then you can see you go through a bear market before coming out the other side. Can you see this? This is more a longer drawn out bear market for Microsoft, Apple, and then you go on this continual growth path. And it looks very similar, these kind of adoptions. We may have different bear markets now, ladies and gentlemen, in the sense that they're more short, they're not as longer drawn out, and we go in sort of more of a micro 4-year cycle theory, if you will. So there's lots of possibility. The main message is not to panic. And just like we were stating on this video when Bitcoin was 11K, you know, you are very similarly following something like Amazon, and they are very similar fundamentally in the sense that they are technology-based companies, if you will. I mean, crypto, could you really call it them companies? They have companies associated with them in a lot of cases, but they're more of an asset. So there are similarities and differences, but one thing that is absolutely similar is the surrounding forces behind Amazon and Bitcoin, and you know, what they're really achieving. And really what you're looking at for Amazon is and if we put it on a log scale, you know, you can see you even have sort of mini cycles here. Can you see this? Maybe we do something like this, and these get smaller and smaller the more kind of capital comes into these assets, due to there being a kind of higher floor and being a little bit more stable. Can you see this? Bitcoin's very much doing the same thing, but it's very early in doing that. You know, you can see these kind of boom and bust. Could they be getting smaller? And we see something akin to Amazon as the market cap continues to go up and there's more stability given to some of the players that are involved. We know that, you know, people like Morgan Stanley own Bitcoin via GBTC. The same, and it goes back to what we've been talking about for a couple of weeks now in relation to the fact that, you know, we are now very tethered as a market to the traditional financial realm and what goes on there, is because we have the same actors at place. So there's lots going on. It's an amazing time to be alive, guys. I see a lot of negativity. Certainly towards certain cryptos. You guys know how bullish I am on Cardano, and I just don't think it's warranted. And I think ultimately, you know, there's two kinds of people in this world. There's people that succeed and there's people that fail. And I think it's a failing mindset every time something doesn't go accordingly to plan to panic and look for somebody to blame and kind of you know, give up on the situation. We haven't given up on crypto for 5 years, and it's been the best decision of my life. And I think you guys have that opportunity today. And if we do indeed go on a Amazon adoption curve or a Microsoft adoption curve and an Apple adoption curve, you're going to be very happy that you held. And I think with crypto, hodling works. It absolutely does work. Anybody that says hodling doesn't work has no idea what they're talking about, because it's a tried and proven method. If you look at all the rich people in crypto, how they've got rich was being early and hodling through it. It's not necessarily that there's been any kind of smarts behind them. It's just that they've been early in terms of purchasing these assets and they've held them. And it's really that simple. And that's the mantra people need to understand. And these, in my opinion, and I'm going to be totally frank and honest with you guys here, these are shakeouts, is what you see. When you see this kind of volatile price action, to me, that's you guys getting shaken out of the market, because what you see on these dips every time, and you can go and look at Glassnode's data on this, is certainly in relation to Bitcoin and many of the altcoins, certainly Ethereum as well. You see whales come in and you see them eat these dips up. So you see retail sell and whales buy on the dips. And it's very mirrored, because on the highs you see retail buy and potentially whales dip, and you know, there's a kind of accumulation game taking place. So the main message of this video is the game has changed. We're in a more mature market and you need to act accordingly with that. You know, we were expecting a blow off top towards the end of this year. It does look like you still could have something, you know, towards the end of the year when things get really heated up. But ultimately, if it doesn't, we're going to adjust our plan accordingly. We're not going to panic. We're not going to give up. We're going to persevere here, because it's absolutely my belief that cryptocurrencies are the new thing, and they're a kindred to some of the stocks that came out of the .com boom, the internet. And remember, the .com boom got to $5.5 trillion. If you think Bitcoin's overvalued or crypto's overvalued, we're nowhere near there yet, guys. That's all I have for you in this video. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. If you enjoyed the content, like, so it's appreciated. So is a comment, and I'll catch you all in the next YouTube video. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen.